Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singer-songwriters and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest has been called a trailblazer in Canadian music and one of the original pioneers of alternative country in Canada. She burst onto the scene in the 80s with her cowpunk band Rang Tango. She has performed and recorded with music legends, including Cuddy of Blue Rodeo, Danko of the band, and Allman of the Allman Brothers. Her list of friends include last names like Cash, Wynette, and Acuff. Her list of awards and nominations include Juno, Lifetime Achievement, Songwriter of the Year, and a SOCAN #1. So, let's spill the tea with Lori Yates. Lori, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That is one heck of a pedigree, Lori. Well deserved. You've done so much in your career, and I can't wait to get to the interview to find out more about what you're up to today. But First of all, some people, Lori, some people may not instantly know who you are, or may not know you behind the scenes. So we're going to give them a little insight into Lori Yates.
Sure.
Behind the scenes. First of all, I need to ask you, what is cowpunk? When you were with the band Rang Tango, what is cowpunk music?
Well, cowpunk is a lot closer to Johnny Cash than Shania Twain, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
It's kind of like country music combined with punk rock music. So the energy of punk, right, which was very, do it yourself, a little bit angry, didn't really need to know how to play your instruments all that great, with the melodies and the song structure of country music. So in the 80s, there was a time period when it was the popular music, and in Los Angeles, in New York, and on Queen Street West in Toronto. So that was where I came to popularity. And a lot of people don't know my name. I when I hear that resume myself, I'm like, oh my God, is that me? And that it's all true, but here's why probably most people don't know my name. I have not had a big commercial hit song. So that's when people, when a singer or an artist gets into everybody's home is when you've had a hit. And that's something that changes people's lives. I'm a person who I've been an artist my whole life, and so I'm not someone that you would necessarily know, but I have had a as you said, a pretty heavy pedigree when I hear Danko, when I hear Johnny Cash.
Lori, when you get up on stage and play with Cuddy and Danko and Allman, have you played with them for so long now that when you get up on stage with them, it's like, yeah, these are my friends and I'm playing on stage and I've got a gig to do with them, as opposed to maybe a new artist that gets invited on stage, they would be starstruck? Or do you still look around and say, you know what? I'm standing here, I'm playing with Cuddy. I'm playing with Danko. This is kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I'm always completely intimidated. I just played with Jim for his the fundraiser that he does for the Daily Bread Food Bank 2 weeks ago. And because I consider him Canada's best male singer, so to stand beside him and have him kind of look at me appreciatively, it's like, wow, if my mom could see me now. And since Rick has passed away, we all miss him terribly. And I remember him coming into the studio. We were in Bearsville in New York, and he came to sing on one of my songs, Rebel Angel, on my Breaking Point record. And it was like a surreal moment, really, because it was so surreal. It felt like it wasn't happening.
Right.
And he just start to sing, and it was so nonchalant.
Mhm.
And I was completely starstruck, just so starstruck I really couldn't speak to him, even though I had met him a bunch of times before. And because the thing with me is, firstly, I'm a fan, right? So I'm a fan, and I don't think I ever get used to some people because I'm awed by their talent, right?
And I think if I probably spoke with Jim Cuddy, he'd probably say, I'm a fan of Laurie Yates. I just love to
Well,
have her on stage with me.
I don't know. I don't know.
When I listen to a number of singers who have been singing for a few years,
Mm,
we start to hear some cracks in their voices, and maybe they need to sing in a different key. I listen to your voice. It's still powerful. Like you've still got horsepower there to spare. What do you do to stay in condition? Like, how do you keep that beautiful instrument finely tuned?
well, thank you, first of all. And well, as you get older, your voice, most people's voice drops, except Jim Cuddy's. He's still singing in the original key, I hear. I'll have to kill him for. Um, you have to take care of it. So you have to do vocal lessons. You have to rest. You have to drink enough water. You have to stay out of the clubs screaming your full head off. Um, and if you have to drop the key. If keys, you just have to look after yourself and protect, as my vocal teacher would say, protect your instrument, which I used to think
Mhm.
was pompous, but she was right. And also, I think at a certain point, inevitably, as someone does get older, it shows in your voice. So I've said to my husband, like, when I get to the point where it's like this, you gotta give me all the things. Like, don't let me go on, because I might not know that. And I might want to sing, but I sound like horrible. So,
Well,
right?
as many people that are not professional, inside their head they sound fantastic. It's
Right?
it's when they let it loose on the world
Yeah.
that things tend to
Yeah.
tend
Yeah.
to change.
Go
When
back to
it comes
school.
to being inspired to write music,
Yeah.
I interviewed one singer or songwriter that said, I found it a lot easier to write when I was in my 20s, like late teens, early 20s, because there was so much heartache and emotion and, breakups and new loves. And then another artist said, well, now that I have children, I find that I get a lot of inspiration from watching my children, and I'm able to write songs then. You've said now, uh, at this point in your career, your creative juices are still pumping, and you finish one project and you right back at it. You want to do something else. Do you do you think, or have you had that experience where you found at one point in time in your career, you had more inspiration and creative juices, or are they just different as you progress through your career?
Well, probably different. I sort of came into this game at a time when I was really known as a co-writer. So, I went to Nashville as a co-writer. I played guitar, not that much, but as soon as I started writing, I was playing guitar, but I didn't play it in bands, and I did a lot of co-writing. So I find in co-writing, uh, I found it hard to find my true voice. So it's been my journey to find my true voice as a writer. So
Mm,
each record, and as time has progressed, I have found, and it's been said to me, that my writing's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. And I would agree with that. I wish I could roll back 30 years on that and be 30 years old with that happening, but that's not the case. It is what it is, right now. And I'm getting reviews to kind of say that the record that I have right now could only be written by someone my age at this point,
right,
addressing the kind of things that I am addressing, right?
right.
Because who's going to be writing about the stuff I'm writing about when you're 30 years old? Because you're not thinking
Mhm.
about that. Why would you? Who?
Right.
I never did, and you wouldn't.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that I, as an artist, I feel that I'm maturing and I can present it to people who are kind of reflecting that back to me as well. I'm often astonished when artists don't change. And I'm like, huh, how is it that you're like a fly in ointment? I don't understand that. You're saying the exact same thing you said 10 years ago. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Now, if I had a big hit with any of them, I probably would too. And that's the truth.
Well, let's get into one of the songs that Lori wrote. This song is the title track from Lori's 8th album. It's called Matador. It's a masterful collection of roots indie songs that wrap around you like your favorite sweater. The album was recorded at Blue Rodeo's Woodshed Studios and co-produced by Tim Besley of the Rheostatics. And it was released this year in January 2024. So let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Lori Yates and her title song from her album Matador. It's called Matador.
Meet me at the Matador. I'll be there just after 4. We'll scrape our boots across the wooden floor once again. Charmaine arrives after last call, lets the drunks and the punks into the Howard Hall, where the famous and those hiding from the law are welcomed in. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Don't tear the grand old lady of Dovercourt. Don't tear it down. Don't tear it down. Don't tear it down. The guitar splashes into the alleyway. We all love to hear Johnny Lovesome play. Those rocker boys play George Jones that way, loud and in your face. Basil passed out in a folding chair, and Anton cut off his new wave hair. She put it in a frame above the stairs leading to the stage. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Don't tear the grand old lady of Dovercourt. Don't tear it down. Don't tear it down. Don't tear it down. The shower dance we all would watch, kitty galore in a cowboy top, and Zeta made the hottest dogs that never seem to age. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Tear it down, don't tear it down. Don't tear the grand old matriarch Dovercourt. Don't tear it down. Don't tear it down. Don't tear it down. No. Don't tear it down.
That was Matador from singer-songwriter Lori Yates. Lori, it's a, I think it's a complex song. I really do. I listen to it, and it's got, the lyrics are intriguing. What was your inspiration to write the song? What was going through your mind when you wrote Matador?
Well, kind of memories of the Matadors. So all the people that are in that song are actual real people that hung out there. Charmaine was the daughter of Anne Dunn, excuse me, who owned the Matador from 1964 to 2003. And she's in the opening verse. Johnny Loveson was a regular who played at the Matador. Excuse me. He was a rocker guy, and that line is, those rocker boys played George Jones that way, loud and in your face. So they'd always play country music kind of loud, right? And in your face. Basil Donovan, Basil of Blue Rodeo. He'd have like this new wave. He was in the Sharks. Fantastic Toronto band, but he would go to the Matador and he'd have this, his new wave hair, and he was Anne Dunn's like favorite adopted son, and everyone was passed out, and Anne Dunn came with the scissors and chopped off his hair, and she put it in a frame. So it was all kind of, and Cowboy Jean, I should say, Cowgirl Jean. She was this great cowgirl dancer that everybody knew. And she would swirl around and dance, and we would all just stop and watch her. So I wanted to, like, once I started to think about the place, because of course it got sold. And guess what? The guy who he sold it to, he tried to make a go of it, didn't work, got sold. And then now it's up for condos, right? And all that's left is the sign. And I started to think about it, and I thought it was such a memorable place for musicians. Anybody that was a big star, like, would come in. Tom Jones, Leonard Cohen's closing time video was filmed there. He hung out there. Joni Mitchell hung out there. The big stars would get up on the stage and play. It was Anne Dunn had a stage at the end of this big bowling alley kind of tunnel of a place, and the big stars would get up and sing a few tunes. She would hire local bands. You'd play 4 or 5 sets a night till 6 in the morning. Wow. So it was really unique. Nobody went in there sober, and you left pretty wrecked. The dawn, it would be sun. The sun would be up when you leave. But it was a real wild experience in a good way. Like, there was no violence, there was no guns, like there was nothing wicked or evil about it. It was just a lot of fun, great music,
And you look back at that and say, wow, crazy times, and lots of fun with lots of great people. So Lori, where can people go and find out more about you and your music? What's the website, socials? How do they find out more about Lori Yates?
Well, you can go to www.loriyates.com. You can buy my record directly from me on my website. You can buy my record. You can go to Bandcamp if you're familiar with Bandcamp, which is a very artist-supportive website. You can also go to Spotify and iTunes.
And that's Lori Yates. Lori is spelled with an I, Lori. We have been in conversation with Lori Yates. Lori, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. It's been enjoyable. Thank you.